Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to some of you. This is a biggie. Thank you so much for joining the
Around here,
talk
Saturdays
that we
don't
have
just
today.
happen.
My
Saturdays
my apology, and it just had a sudden burst of another TV that was on mute, I guess. Anyway, I just want to start with a little prayer, as usual, that we have a great conversation. I always pray to my Xavier here, and following that, we're just gonna have Mika on our the Mika song that they sang with Godspeed. So we'll be putting that, and then we'll be discussing today, basically uh, branding Africa. And, and those of you who would love to join at this point, I'll be grateful because it's a topic that I think we need to really start entertaining it because now we know how to acquire peace among ourselves. We got a message that's out there that African issue can be solved by Africans. Now we just don't want to waste any more time. We just want to make sure we're going to stop and talking, just doing the work. And where we're going to start working. There are a few things that I'd love to discuss with everybody on this panel. If anybody that would love to join me, again, I greatly appreciate it because this is a topic that we all need to take it as an important step to go forward with our agenda, our goals, priorities, areas that we need to really focus. Again, things that we can do to progress to this time where Africa is and where we want Africa to be at. And one of the things that we created is the unity, and working the unity literally is working together. We need to work together. We need to see all the opportunity that we can really, again, like I said, think, eat, drink, sleep, Africa, because anything that you see out there that's going to be beneficial to our continent, and it can be entertained into the implementation of all inclusive. These are the kind of idea that we really want to talk about. And again, Mayit, salam salam. Thank you for joining me. Um, this topic is very much a little bit in touch of what Mika presented on last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, uh, the date. But it was a great communication, great interviews with different people that came from different places. We had a great discussion. I'll invite everybody to watch that, but I'm based on some of that topic that will extend into understanding now that we know how to create peace and how to solve our differences. Now we want to be forward going on certain areas that are low hanging fruits and looking from what's important for us. So I'll be right back up that plate, Mika, and I'm going to share this presentation and take it from there. Now I'm just going to have Mika, and before Mika, I want to do again a quick prayer. Xavier, I really thank you for giving us this day, for us to be able to discuss the future and the help in all African nations, and including all the Africans that are out there abroad that are really missing home, and at the same time trying to make uh, something out of this discussion that you created for us to better all African lives. I really thank you for giving us the time, and for all those of you that are participating. Bless them all. For those that are being hurt in health and everything that they need, a blessing, please forward and always cover with your blessing. I thank you, my Lord Xavier, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So I'm going to share Mika. I always do that. It's just it feels great. And here's Mika and Godspeed.
In the covers of your heart, stood your beloved, your day stood, the fairest among 10,000 ones. You formed the seasons and fixed the time. You gave me sparks in the morning light. Creation flowed from your love. You were crafty and I was breathing. You were laughing, I was reaching out for you. I was made for heaven. I was made for Jesus. I was made to walk the cool of the day with you. With you. Cursed in the garden of paradise, knew the pain from the Father's arms. To get us back, you gave it all. Filled in the likeness of flesh on earth, you bore the cross that we deserve. You've gotten down on one knee. Spirit breathing on me, been saying I'm see what I was made for. I was made for heaven. I was made for Jesus. I was made to walk in the cool of the day with you. I was made for heaven. I was made for Jesus. I was made to walk in the cool of the day with you. With you. Oh, point of my existence is to know you, Jesus. The whole point of my existence is to know you. Oh, the whole point of my existence is to know your love. The whole point of my existence is to know you, Lord. The whole point of my existence is to know your love. The whole point of my existence is to know your love. Is to know your love. Is to know your love. I was made for heaven. I was made for Jesus. I was made to walk the cool of a day with you. I was made for heaven. I was made for Jesus. I was made to walk the cool of a day with you. With you.
Always great music. Great music is a good way to start a Saturday afternoon with everybody else around and family. Thank you for joining me again. I'm going to start with sharing a picture. This drawing was drawn by my dearest brother that passed away in 2019, and this drawing means a lot on how he saw African businesses, specifically in Ethiopia, how investments are been doing and what it reflects on this picture. Actually, it's not a picture. Actually, he actually drew it, and this was drawn in 2014. Uh, it makes you think, how he saw on how things were going at that time. He again, may God bless his soul, rest in peace in heaven with the Father. But I kept this one, and I'll share it with you guys. And it's, uh, it's a point that we need to discuss on today's discussion. In fact, on how we can turn this thing around, and I'll share the picture and tell me what you think. This is on screen two, and I don't know. I got them both side by side, but let me try another way where I can bring it just by himself toward my screen. Just give me a second. I'm sharing it. Just let me know in the comment section if you see the. Yeah, I can see it on my share, and if I can zoom it out a little bit better, so everybody can see that. Okay. Marita, can you see it on the screen? If you can confirm. Yeah, I can see it on the screen itself. But basically, uh, what uh, what he did was this. He kind of scratched it. He's an artist. He did a lot of arts in his life. He had some specialties, and he just drew this. And if you look at it, he's on the Ethiopia side. Here's a fisherman. He fishes one fish at a time, so that means he's spending a lot of time to get this fish one at a time. But you brought an investor to really go through your kind of your investment uh, into the fishery, and if you can see the investors, he's launching two. Instead of just getting the basket of fish, not only he's getting a basket, now he's going to get also the fishermen. So basically, they don't have equal trade. They don't. After he gets the fish, he wants to get the water and the fishing rights, and including you can see those double hooks that that's going. One hook is going to go to the fisherman, and the other hook goes right into the to the basket. If you notice, he already collected one basket right here, and this fisherman is still fishing the whole day. So this is kind of ironic because this is the life that Africa been living all this time. They find the gold, and then they'll get the right of mining, and including the people that used to live there. Eventually, they become working in the mine per the foreign investor. And at the end, if the fisherman is gone and the fishes, if they not restock or anything else, if it's not balanced. So he drew this picture where we had kind of a discussion about the foreign investors versus the Ethiopians that are there trying to make something better. This is 2014, and we're talking about during the Mullis era and how all these investors were really getting fat on the investment because now not only they get the product, they also get the human resource along with it. He was independent, now suddenly he becomes dependent on the foreign investor money, and it makes so much complication. Eventually, this is simplified. But what I'm trying to do now is out of this picture, this drawing that he left for me really to present it to the family, uh, and what it means and how we can turn this thing around where we're going to have a well respected boundary between the investors and as well the investees that's going to be in this approach where they don't lose their livelihood because such investor came in, he's got the money, we got the resource and the product. And how can we get that investor when he end up by taking what he's taking right now, as you see in the picture, in the drawing, that every fish should be branded. So every fish should be Ethiopia and it should be branded out for the investor. That's when you kind of we brand ourselves into making something better. So if you really look at through the definition of branding is to really promote ourselves, endow ourselves as Africans, and when they take something, it has to be identified. It's African. It's not Italian. It's not American. It's not any other foreign. That you got it from the soil of the continent, and anything that you take from that soil, when we negotiate, we need to make sure when they market it somewhere, it should be made in Africa. Now we get the exposure because this exposure will help us to brand ourselves out there to the world. This is not something that they made the chips, they made this. No, it's made in Africa. It's made out of Africa. And that has to be recognized. And it has to be in the negotiation that has to be branded as an African product. And that's the only way that we're going to make some noise. And that's the only way we're going to get something that they take in and they have to understand it's an African product. So all the coffee, all these coffee businesses, all these other businesses that you have, is not branded properly coming up from Africa. It is made in maybe in certain area, but somewhere down the road they take that, repackage it, and become somebody else's. That is something that we have to look into because the investor and the person that's buying that, once he buys the product, we don't have any follow up. We kind of leave it to our daily bread. Basically you're getting something and you're not really furthering yourself into the recognition of that product. So by collaborating, so if we helping one another and doing the things what we're supposed to be doing by promoting each other, then we understand. So our branding is what you put out into the world. Branding goes from your tone, your voice, your messaging, your visual identity. Each of stems from your brand. So that means everything that you dig on and bring in and present it to the world, it has to have your African soil brand which is made in Africa. It can be made in Uganda, made in Ethiopia, but at the same time, it has to have made in Ethiopia, Africa. That would brand the continent. And if they were one that the actual way it came from, that has specific name to it. Okay. So by having saying that, each nation would be interlocking into getting their product out and being competitive, and not to crush the competition, but it's still going to have a competition that you have to deal with, and that has to be taken with your marketing, your everything that you're going to be looking into branding has to have somebody behind it and helping out. So the main goal that we need to achieve, that we're going to be equal trade when we come to the trading platform, and just having this one way kind of as you can see it in the drawing, one way with where not only it takes the fish, but it takes also the fisherman along with that. Now we kind of become one way, literally can call it. You become to work for somebody. You used to work for yourself. You used to have your own fishing tools, and you fish one at a time. It doesn't matter, whatever it takes. Anything that you have, it's about the time and what you're going to put it in the market, and how long it took you, and how much that it got for you, and what it took to produce this product. That is in calculation. But if somebody just take over your whole factory, your whole personality, or your personnel, that's going to be a lose-lose, not a win-win situation. But somebody else is taking over on your business, and specifically, he doesn't know your neighbors as you do. So eventually, it's going to affect also your neighborhood and how they're going to be living. That has to be something that we as Africans collectively venture out to produce things in Africa and make sure that it's really labeled made in Africa. So that made in Africa is very important. And that will strengthen us into presenting in the competition world to have a quality. The quality has to be there. That will give us the strength. Once you are out there competing, that gives you strength to really watch after your quality of your product, whatever it can be, whatever you want to brand in. That's how we're going to be working together, and it doesn't work just a one person strategy, but it's a whole network, the promotion, everything. And I just go right down to the things that I just, in my opinion, that I say, take control of our riches. Okay, we have to take control. We're not going to be cheap either. You know, we can be very competitive in pricing, but we take control of our riches. So that means all our minerals, all our resources that we have, including our riches, is also our youth, our population, our people, our riches. Because you know what? That is the population that's going to drive Africa to the next level. So these are the wealth of the continent, not just the material, but the people that live in the continent. They're part of it. So we need to take control of our riches. Again, another one is take control on our youth education. Why we educating our youth for something that they're not going to be producing with it? Why should I enforce a young man, a young grown man into, let's say, into science? Maybe he is not interested in science. Maybe he's a historian. He wants to work on history. And that is encourageable, because there's a lot of our African heritage and histories that's being buried and controlled on the narratives, not being told the true stories. So we need to have our own Africans that's going to dig into it and find geology. That's another part. There's a lot of things that's buried underneath, and they don't want to be unburied because there's a lot of incriminating information out there on what's been done. But again, we all know deep inside in our heart what we wish of what Africa should be. The aspiration is a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. And how are we gonna be achieving this? Because it's part of your branding. Okay. If it's prosperity, definitely we really look into what makes a well balanced between our riches and our people benefits. And that's the thing that is so out there, but we need to work. And work is rewarding because each aspect of it should be recognized that we need to work through it. So the first on the aspiration to prosperous Africa, this is what we are going to look at, and also I'm just going to put the invite for those who'd like to join me. Uh, I'm just going to put the invite in there, and you can join me on this discussion because I find it a very great discussion, something that we really need to push on to really bring in the diaspora an opportunity also to invest, not this kind of investment, but invest in different area where it's going to help the the continent and the people, which they are your brothers and sisters, and how to get them engaged more. So the aspiration part of it, I put the SharePoint. The aspiration part of it is a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. We already discussed this during the AU Agenda 2063, which is one of the first goals. And the goal on this is, in order to make it happen, uh, we need to go on the high standard of living, quality of life, well-being for all citizens, for all African citizens, well-educated citizens, and skilled revolution underpinned by science, technology, and innovation, a healthy and well-nourished citizens, transformed economy, that's number four on that, and modern agriculture for increased productivity and production. Well, I just want to welcome Marie. Marie, welcome my to the Diaspora Talk Show. How are you
Hello.
today?
Hi, Biggie. I'm
How
a
you
little,
doing?
I'm okay. A little, well, my house is very noisy because my nephews are here. So
Uh,
I need to
yes.
be muted most of the time, but because they're very energetic. But the point you made about well educated people is extremely important. At
Yes.
the moment, France used Haiti's most educated people and deliberately worked on their minds so that they saw France as their motherland and not Africa.
Hmm.
It's extremely important to make sure that the well educated people are engaged for their loyalty so that they don't work against Ethiopia.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll mute myself for the next few minutes, but I'll be listening.
Okay. Okay. Did you see the picture, the drawing?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
He just
Yeah,
sketched it out, and he did it in 2014. And
yes.
I
Wow.
always saved it in my picture. I took a picture of it, and I still have the real drawing.
I
So
love it.
uh, it came in time. I was looking for it, and right after the discussion on Thursday with Mika, I found it, and I said, "Yes, this is it. This is the time that we need to talk about the branding Africa and how we
Mhm.
can achieve this branding all across Africa. We have a lot of goods out there, and that's where I saw how this thing came about. And he was he told me that they will come after the fishermen, He said, "It's in there. Just look at it." And I never looked at the double hook at the bottom from the investor. So that means not only he's getting the basket of fish, but he's aiming also to get that person. So that means that representation on the fish, but that means they've taken our educated people, the main people that are doing the actual workforce. It can be a doctor, it can be a mechanic, whatever they're performing. Let's say instead of fish, this is a doctor that's performing on a kidney transplant or on a heart transplant or whatever that he is. So not only they invest on his clinic, but now they make him work for themselves. So in any aspect of it, you look at it, this is one way. Production, you show something and then you're vulnerable. Usually when you call investment, and then there's money involved, and how to be how not to be bought out, because your mission is greater than just getting bought out by so-called investment. So it has a lot of meaning. So as we go through the session today, I hope I'll have some more comment on how they see this drawing and what it makes in their thinking. So it'll be a great discussion. So yeah, and the other thing that we need to look at is the healthy and well nourished citizen. And so yes, this is what we all want. One of the greatest thing in Africa is that a lot of it is organically grown. But as the population growth, we need to put more out there. So that brings us within that well nourished. Then it brings us to the number 5 is modern agriculture for increased productivity and production. So these are really lined out from 1 to 6. And then the number 6 is pretty much the ocean economy for accelerated economic growth. So now from this goal, we kind of bring in, I'll share this PowerPoint so everybody can take a look at it. I'm going to share this. I'm just going to bring this one because I got 2 screens, so it's kind of get a little bit confusing when it comes to sharing it. You just go to the other one. So I'm going to share this one so everybody can read it, and this is something that is out there, and I just brought it to the family attention because I think it's very simple and it's well written. So these are just the 1 and 2 parts that I'm going to be talking about. And as you can see it, let me see if I can bring it highlight. It's a little bit difficult to bring all the page in one. Can you read it? Can anybody confirm it to me? Are you able to read this?
Yes, I can read it.
All right. So now that we have the aspiration is a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. And here are the goals. Okay. I went 1 through 6, but we're going to go on them line by line and what it means for us and where can we get this. It is an information, but somebody has to do the work. Somebody has to pick the work, and you can pick any area of these things. And in fact, it will be a network, a collaboration with each nations and in the continent to really discuss on what they can do with it, because this is something that they wrote together. This is the actual priorities, aspiration, goals, and priority that they put in. This is just the first one out of, I believe, 7 of them. There are 7 of these. So priority area is income, okay, jobs, and decent work. Okay. And so that means we have to be creating jobs because the job doesn't come overnight. And a lot of the jobs creations can also can be invested within each nation that have the priority and the attention when it comes to the job markets on how can we get. It's not always you got the best of the best that really can do something until they get the recognition or who you know. These are the things that really hurts in Africa because usually when they graduate, and anybody in the world, when they graduate, they don't see you being experienced, but actually the tenacity and being in school 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, depending on how many years it took you to really graduate, you already got the experience. It's just you need hands on the product that you're going to be working on. And that, that shows you the tenacity of that student that he went through that 4 years or 6 years. It can be bachelor, master's, and doctorate, PhD. But again, that shows you that he really worked on a lot of things. But if you really look at it, once you get your PhD and you are a professor and you have this, nobody question about the experience. It's very amazing because of the thesis and everything that they develop. Everything get ignored. But if you have a bachelor, even a masters, they're okay with that. When it comes to the higher level, you got a master and a PhD. Usually, you can go around and getting jobs. But when it comes to bachelor degree, is still in question. Always the question of experience, but the experience that the 4 years of tenacity itself it shows it's just given that person an opportunity, and whether they like it or not on any job market, you're going to have to hire these people. I mean, they have the education now, they need a little experience. Yeah, you're going to be maybe hiring them on the entry level or whatever, but eventually, remember, if you don't bring them up to speed on their salary, on their income, they will seek another job. Now they have an experience on your company. Now you're going to have to deal with a lot of the churns. But if you're fair in paying and make sure that they grow within your company and give them more opportunity, then you get the your investment worth of bringing this college student sometimes in internship because that internship giving them the opportunity. Africa, we have to be really wide open to give our youth an opportunity. They'll come as an internship. They will love to work on what the field will look like in the future. So we're going to need to increase uh, our narratives and our saying to the employers to really give our young citizens an opportunity for internship. That right there gives you an opportunity also as an employer to give them a chance on how they produce. And by the time they graduate, you already got them trained part of their school curriculum, and you know who you dealt with. So promoting and giving hope to the youth that they have opportunities that encourages the young population that is being given opportunity for work. Some of the area of work is that everything that you see that is not where it's supposed to be, and if you can fix it, if you can do something about it, don't expect to have to get paid for it. But the fact he did work, you're gonna be paid naturally tenfold because you did work. We are beings that works and get rewarded. We can be rewarded financially. We can be rewarded by blessings. Let's say a very simple thing. You go and grandma asks you or grandpa asks you to go and get him a glass of water, and you go and get him a glass of water. That's work. by the way. That's work. Don't take it for granted because by the time you get them a glass of water, what's going to happen is you get showered with the thank you and the blessings. So always do not undermine work. You help cleaning your neighbor's house. That's work. In return, what you get, blessing. In return, you get fed in certain occasions. You get to know your neighbor more. And in fact, you know your neighbor, but when they need help and doing the fact that you're doing the work to help, that's work. And it's rewarding because you did something good. And doing good, that gives us also other opportunities to look into. So when it comes to income and job, and as they say, decent work, I kind of said, you know, there's a dirty work. I mean, nobody wants to touch it, but it's work. But there are people that can do that. People that can, let's say, in the waste management. Okay, waste management has different things. So that also we need how to recycle our waste. How to recycle different things. So when it comes jobs and a decent work, for me, I hope that they define decent work as different hours, decent hours, where you can have your family time and as well have your personal time and as well balance your work time. So that's what I see on a decent work. They pay you for 8, but you're working 14, 15 hours. That's another issue, even though it pays, but it's a salary. It's not paying you what it's supposed to be paying, and then you have different problems. So I can see the decent work. The other thing that we're working on, we're supposed to be working and focused on, through the in order to achieving to that branding is to really look on these priority areas. But again, we can work on all these priorities all at the same time. It's just who's going to pick and who is going to be doing in certain specific, and because each priority area has its own organization, it has its own sub-organization, it has its own other part moving in order to make it successful. So I'm just talking about on the highlight aspect of it, and as well give my opinions on it. The other one is the social security and protection, including persons with disability. Yes, in Africa, most of it is being covered by family members, and and that family member has this responsibility to help out. But again, we have others that do not have family, and they suffer. So that's one part also that we need to work on, just to make sure that we have people. What we're gonna do of our brothers and sisters that have disability issue. How can we help them? Um, some of them, are physically disabled. What are we gonna do about that? So there's a lot of work that we can do. We got the school for blinds. Do we have enough school for the blinds? School for the deaf, and so on and so forth, on how we can really work on this area, because these are our brothers and sisters. It's unfortunate that they have disability, but we don't kind of ignore them. We're just going to bring them up to speed and help them into really get their life going. So it's an African thing. In fact, and we help a lot of the neighbors with disability issues and stuff. But again, it's not across as a well-known organization that we need to push on those organizations in order to make it happen. Um, Modern and livable habitats and basic quality service. Yeah, it's a priority. Uh, the modern habitat, let's say now that the GERD is going to be really fully inaugurated and fully given service in certain areas, that you have the way the housings are and how to bring about this electricity into their housing. There's certain structural things that's required to bring the electricity into these homes. So that's another thing, for example, that we need to think about, and how we can improve certain lifestyles into bringing this electricity, because electricity will change those people way of living. Now they have lights; they can extend the day an hour or two instead of going by sunset from sunrise to sunset, and it will help the students that they can study better, they can see better. So these are the few things that we need to work really into bringing these opportunities, the modern and livable habitats and basic quality services. So basically, bring electricity and water. I see that's number one in priority for Africa, because we have also issues on health because of not having clean water, and getting that clean water itself. It's part of the quality. We need to bring, because I don't know if you guys been watching on some of your episode of the cholera and Ebola and stuff. It's flaring back up. It's because of the unhealthy condition of some of the water that they've been drinking. It has a lot of things to do with the drinking water. As you all know, if your water you're drinking is not clean, and it has all these bacteria and all that, so you got the issues, definitely. So that's something that we need to work around our water sources and how they flow, and how we can get this clean water to those who don't have the clean water. So that's another thing. Each company that's going to be working on these specific area, they can specialize on bringing the water. Their specialty is under the service authority, but at the same time, they can brand themselves on under your company, and you can get even the water being distributed elsewhere. So that's another way of getting it, the branding part of it. There's a lot of opportunities of branding, and since the branding start from the bottom, from the companies and from individuals, of putting their 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 messages out there, the way they present themselves, the visual presentation, all that is an opportunity that they're going to create within these priority area. And when everybody's doing it at the same time, then we're going to be creating another alliance and another ways of doing on a high level, where we can really have a manageable groups that we can manage all together to bring the branding out, to make sure that everything is made in Africa. And anything that's you send out, like any leather or anything else that goes out, that leather is in Ethiopia. So we should know that. I got anonymous that joined me. Hello, anonymous. Oh, that's welcome to the Dashboard Show. Go ahead. Can you hear me, Marie? Can you hear me? If you can confirm.
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you. Hmm.
Yeah, I guess anonymous just joined.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can't hear Anonymous.
Yeah, yeah. Anonymous, maybe you need to.
Sometimes the problem is a Bluetooth
You,
sound device connected.
right. I think he's gonna come back again. But anyway, so these are the things that I see the opportunities for all Africans to be able to get information out there and branding the whole the African continent. All right, Marie, what do you think
No, I
about
agree
this?
with all the points so far. The main thing is coming up with a plan to actually get started and keep the momentum going to finish it to completion.
Right.
That's usually the challenge for us. We usually have a lot of energy at the beginning and then we lose momentum in the middle.
Hmm. And I think we lose it also because there's so many other some of the priority that comes at the beginning. Now you got another priority that you got to deal with. So many debuckling, all that is part of the movement, and we get challenged. That I guarantee you, we get challenged. You saw it, throughout this whole mission of Raleigh Nation One Africa.
Yes,
We are overcoming it because there's so many other information also that comes in, and we need to give them priority. At the time as is coming, like
yes,
all these peace talk, all these, and now we got the Congo, the DRC issue. We don't drop what we start, but we need to. We always are given priority into those information and how we're going to help the people, the voices, be the voice. You see what I mean? Because a lot of things that's happening, a lot of things from people personal life and everything else. It makes a whole lot of things that comes in, and we can do nothing about it, and we have to be really proactive into making the action. It's like when you saw Mika from Korea, a couple days of stop in Ethiopia.
yes.
It didn't end that way. And then but it's supposed to leave. He's supposed to leave and come to Tanzania for another meeting. But one thing that I know is it opened up a lot of other gates, and that's why it's so many things going while the gig going. You know what I mean? It's a double track that
Yes.
you have to perform. That's why we humans we can take so much when it comes to some things that we work on, especially when it comes to pressure. Different people handle pressure differently, and how
And
they go about their daily life.
yeah, multitasking can be exhausting.
Yeah, and that's what it does. But then, one thing that I always said about multitasking also, it gives you the opportunity to give a break on one side because that part of your brain is getting short fused. You know what I mean? So you're gonna
Yeah.
have to to go and say, oh, wait a minute, before it burns me out all across, you're just gonna hop on the other one. So that multitasking will give you a different mindset that you can work on. So this is go ahead.
I said I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and a lot of the tasks that we have in front of us, these are the tasks that really, I mean, they are. all priorities, but they are priority on top of priorities, and how we go about it. Even the family, like you see on the comments sometimes, you know, they will come up with, hey, this was happening. What this thing? It shows you we know it did happen, but at the same time, we're gonna have to get the things going and reorganize and have all our things together. We got to put ourselves together. Oh, I finally read. Maurice said it's too small. Don't worry, Marita. I'll share it, on WhatsApp. Something that we all need to work on and take part of it. I cannot
Yes.
build Africa by myself. And no way. There's no way. I need the family. I need everybody. I need the intellect. I need the people that can invest on the right direction. People that's going to be helping us into making the right moves. We want our people that are really eager to perform and do something about it.
Yes. Well, so at the moment, what's the main issue in the news in Ethiopia besides the treaty that we have just signed?
Yes, the treaty was signed in South Africa, and they had 12 points that they're going to be discussing. And
Mm-hmm.
in fact, they just finished today, and was trying to get as much information because it just came out, what, 6 hours ago?
Mm-hmm.
And the information is that everything went the way it's supposed to go, and it was very successful.
Oh,
Basically,
wonderful.
yeah, it was a very successful, and everybody agreed according to the 12 point, because they had that meeting in Nairobi.
Yes.
So the outcome is still maintain the peace. And in fact, and this is one of the thing maybe people don't want to hear about it sometimes when it comes to the African Union, but for the first and most on this kind of very complicated war, a lot of proxy been used. It has ended. That's the best news, not only for Ethiopia and her neighbors, okay, because
Mm-hmm.
Kenya facilitated the second part, but this is
Yes.
something that it went across that ring throughout Africa, and there are some noises that they say, "Oh, wait a minute, we we have the issue proven point." It's so amazing the way they took it. The first one is to agree for everything of the ceasefire and everything else, that there will be no more war. Okay, and the second part, after that first phase is over, then they were able to go to Kenya and to meet, or each general to meet in the representation for different, the Ethiopian side, on the TPLF side, they sat down and they made those 12 agendas more elaborated. That shows, you know, we can go any part of the world, still we find a solution. It started from South Africa, it went to Kenya. It's just,
Yeah.
it's, a,
Mm-hmm.
we should be so proud of the first actions. And this is the momentum that for all the diasporas, we have to find all the finance that the AU might need from us, because the one passport for all Africans,
Mm-hmm.
that is being pushed. I mean, it's like, do you know, in 2018, I believe it's supposed to be all Africans to be able to have the AU's passport. The
Since
only people that had 18, it's supposed to be
2018?
done by 18.
Oh.
Then we had COVID and everything, because
Right.
the Rwanda president has it. What's his name? The Sahel president also has it.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Wow.
started with a head of states.
Yes. Yes.
Now we're demanding that it should have been done by 2018 to all citizens to be able to obtain the passport. And it's so amazing that Mika did talk about it in the youth summit in the African Union.
Mhm.
And
It,
yes, it's there. And he just reminded them, well, we need our passport. So in order to really, like I started the Agenda 2063 of the African Union, I've seen so many great points out there, great points, but
yeah.
they're not functional. You know what I mean? Sometimes they have the incumbent for the position, but it doesn't have the org that he requires in order to push the actual why he was hired. So I've seen some of the things that were missing, and the fact that now we get to see those documents. The documents are available for all Africans. Actually, for anybody. I mean, you go online and you find all this documentation. So I always said, I don't want to undermine or anything else about our educated part of Africa that really put this effort with limited resources, and it's out there. It's up to us to support on what we can support. It can be the economical in the economy. It can be the mechanical, the way we're going to be going through this time where Africa should be recognized more and have equal trading. It's very important that we're going to have to put that push. And we saw there's a mechanism for peace.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be the mechanism for development, economical development, the agriculture, and everything else. These are low-hanging fruits, like the food security. Like Mika went to Ethiopia and looked at where they got all this wheat uh, and how it works, and that's really great. We can replicate things like that. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's just how can we do like the way McDonald's started. It started with McDonald's. They didn't have no shake. Then Ray Kroc showed up with a shake machine. Then he said, you know what? Why don't we combine the burgers and the shakes? And now they become a power. So the two came in. Actually, it's business 101 in a business school. And the next thing that you know is they opened McDonald's throughout the nation. There's a McDonald's every part of this nation, United Nations. Not only here, but international. So Africa should be doing the same. We should be branding our own brands and go throughout the continent. In fact, it's a big, big continent. It is how big? Maybe three, four times the size of the United States. That's how big our continent is. It's huge. So our population is also growing and coming.
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
welcome, and
Oh,
we got Ridge in the house.
Rich.
The architect is in the house.
How are you, Virgin? How are you?
How you doing, Ridge? How's it
Oh,
going?
my.
I'm good. I'm just here in my last last hour of work,
All
but
right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit bored, and I heard you guys on YouTube, so
Yeah, I showed you. Mhm.
yeah.
So
Show me you guys are back here doing God's work again.
absolutely, we're not gonna stop. You know,
Mhm.
it tried to stop me last week, but I got Mika that covered me. Again, uh,
Yeah,
all the challenges that comes. It was so much last week that I prepared. certain things for the show, like on a, usually I told you I start planning it and see my little mini days on that, but I suddenly that my daughter was leaving. I'm like, okay, now I'm the one that's been watching everything, so I got stuck with it. But Mika
Yeah,
covered. I was glad.
yeah. I didn't do my show the last time either because
Right.
I got caught up. But I think that what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna give you brethren maybe like an hour or two notice every time I'm going because I don't want to plan it for every Wednesday. I want to do it whenever there's time or whenever the spirit moves me. So
Right.
what I'm planning to do is that whenever I get time in the week or on the weekend, I will give you guys maybe a 2 hours notice uh before I go live because I got some really heavy information to drop and sometimes some of my friends they're telling me I should watch what I say because people are listening to us and our ideas are very powerful ideas.
Yes, it's out
So
there.
yeah, and as much as one thing I've grown to realize, as much as we are smart, as much as we are powerful, and as much as we have ideas to bring about our true to bring about a true revolution, our true freedom, there are also people on the opposite side that are as smart as us, as resilient as us, that don't want
Hmm.
us to come out of this condition.
Right.
So,
It
um,
is. It is one thing, Ridge.
mm,
Uh, as we do the God's work, that energy. Uh, if I tell you something, yeah, we did this, we did that, we can do that, right?
mhm,
It's within our vision. You see what I mean?
mhm,
Our vision is like a guy that looks at the drum, right? That drum, you see a stick, two sticks. Oh, I can beat on that drum and I can make that music, right? As they say
mhm,
in Ethiopian proverb, they said, yeah, you can hold on to the stick, but you don't know what to do with the stick.
mhm,
You understand?
mhm,
It's all coded for us. It's information that we put out there, an opinion that we put out there, and for the one that's gonna really want to disrupt and make it differently, you know, uh, it's up, it's up to you, but again, it's our drum, it's our stick, our player. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And our motion, if you notice, we're peaceful, Africa. You understand?
Yeah.
This is a platform of peace. This is a
Mhm.
platform that we want unity. This is a platform. We're not the first one, right? But
Yeah.
our power now is that we are really putting the peace, and we
Mhm.
call for peace. The peace came, and there's
Yes.
nothing they can do about it. There is
Yeah.
nothing they can do about it.
All
They
all
tried.
this is all this is true. All this is true. But also, before I say anything else, Mary Antoinette, how are you doing?
You know what I'm thinking?
Mm.
I need to sit down and carefully review what is the mechanism between um, lowered atmospheric pressure and feeling ill. That's what I need to do because
Mm.
it's a very common complaint,
Mm.
and it seems as though the mechanism is not well understood. That is
Mm.
something I would have to go to the continent to find somebody to explain. Yeah,
that 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 sounds like a plan.
it's really rough these days.
Mm.
Yeah, and the weather in the entire Caribbean and Latin American region is at its worst these days. So
Oh yeah,
Well,
it's a
yeah.
bit.
in
There's a lot of.
Canada, in Canada right now, well, where I'm at right now, it just started snowing. So trust me, um, you got some warm weather. That's a plus. But
Mhm.
also, Biggie, you should be telling Mary Antoinette about that holy water you guys have over there that does heal everything. I heard about it.
Oh, oh,
And they make
Marie Antoinette.
they make it with hyssop. I have nothing. I have no ingredients.
The,
Well, it's not. It comes from the ground. They don't make it. God make it. Has to be,
yeah,
Oh, I see.
it's all natural
And you have to walk
streams.
there. You have to walk go there barefoot. Biggie, tell her.
Yeah,
Hmm.
uh, it's like with prayers, with fasting, with belief, trust,
Yes.
trusting God, and you'd be kind of washed with it. You know, they wash you with it. There's a lot of
Hmm.
miracle that happened
Hmm.
in this part of,
Yeah,
especially in Ethiopia.
people who had incurable diseases got cured there. More than
Hmm.
one person. A
Yeah,
lot of people.
I have
there's a
been
lot of
watching.
people.
I have been watching the Kale Awadi channel. You know the Ethiopian Orthodox service every day, the mass daily. But I love the music. It's just that I have no real knowledge of the language, so
Right.
I just lose myself in the music. But I that's about it. Yeah.
And it's so the the ceremony in the mass that you see in the Orthodox Church, most of it, maybe when it comes to the gospel reading, might be a little bit on both in the
Hmm.
local language and as well. Sometimes it goes Giz, and that's really the oldest language. They
Hmm.
say as old as the Aramaic Christ languages. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
in fact, I told you that since I speak Tigrinya, I was able to listen to people talking Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew, but I was able to listen to some of the words that are so common for me. But it comes because of the Giz, the language that gave me the opportunity. Because Giz also have some of the since it got the Aramaic and as well it got Arabic also, and as well when it comes to counting, it has a little bit of Arabic.
Hmm.
And with that, I figured out because since I speak different languages and I don't translate, I can hear it.
Hmm.
I don't wait and say, "Oh, what this word?" If you stop me asking me that word, I might lose it. But when I hear it, I know what the word is, and I can reuse it again.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when it comes to the holy waters, uh, people travel all over the nation to Ethiopia to find a
Yes.
cure to a lot of
Hmm.
things, and not only diseases, but at the same time spiritual issues,
Yeah,
uh,
Hmm.
mental, so
mental
everything,
issues,
everything.
yeah, everything that you might experience. A lot of people come out healed, and
Yes.
I believe myself. I believe in it.
Hmm.
100%. I believe in it. It's just the
Hmm.
way it processes. There's one church also that they found somewhere in Kentucky or Tennessee. I don't know where it is, but they found water that flows from underground, and
Hmm.
that became really like a pilgrimage to a lot of people that live within the United States. People that come in from Canada, they give you room, okay, and you'll do whatever whatever that you're dealing with. It's not something like I'm done. It's not like, oh, I've done this much and I'm done. No, it's something. It's a process, and how you feel, and how you feel your healings, and you stay there until you are really healed on whatever that you have. It's not the time. There's no timeline to it. Is it how
Hmm.
important is it for you to be alive? Because if you leave without having any effect to you, and you didn't understand what's coming, if you're in hurry, like I drink this water, I'm healed. It's not just like that. It has a process. You got to go through the church ceremony. There's so many things that goes along with it. But I
Hmm.
guarantee you, by the time you come out from there, oh my lord, you'll be you'll be connected, seriously connected. There's no interference. Put it that way. There won't be no scrambling. It is
Yeah.
very powerful, very powerful.
Yeah. Well,
As
Figit.
I,
Mm,
I say as a nugget also as a nugget, I always want to invite you if you can join us. I love it because one of the things that she mentioned last week, last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, is that Tanzania finished their census, and she said she was jealous. So I know she's gonna say that. If Asanaka is still there, Neil Pax, really, thank you so much for joining us. Always,
mm.
always good to see that. And one thing that he said, yeah, one of the needs of Russell he or she is affiliation. One needs fam. One cannot function without fam. A need.
Where would I
Yes.
yeah, that's true. I have a question. Where would I go to learn? Um, I don't want to say doctrines because I don't want it to become just an academic exercise, but there are certain things that I don't quite understand. Like I once go back to Africa was on a visit to Ethiopia, and the priest was saying he would strongly advise us to avoid drinking coffee,
Okay.
which is something I used to do before I started studying a lot.
Hmm.
Um, Once I started studying a lot, I really needed coffee because I always had health problems, and it helps with my energy, my low energy level.
Right.
So I know in my family nobody else drinks coffee but me, and
Right.
but so we've always known it was something to avoid, but um, the deep spiritual meaning of coffee, I never understood it. And it makes your thoughts, you know, race, I would say.
Yes, and
Um,
remember the caffeine is also, an ingredient boost energy.
yes.
The is the natural way to boost energy. Like food takes like this energy pills or drinks, whatever. If you really look
Mhm.
at it, it has caffeine. At
Yeah,
the end of the day,
it
it
does.
still has
Yes.
caffeine.
But it's natural, though. I mean, God made it. You know.
Exactly. That fruit is a fruit actually, and in fact, for a long time, they used to just feed it to cows or whatever. And once they take that seed, the
Mm-hmm.
fruit itself around it, it was fed for something else. Now they found how to get that fruit and found out there's something good for your diet. So they start selling it by juicing it and with
Yes.
other ingredients. So that coffee has a lot of things. One of the things that is bad, really, within the coffee, or which is my weakness, I love sugar, and I like raw sugar. I don't like the white sugar, the bleach one. I never,
Yes.
it
Mm-hmm.
never fazed me. I always buy raw, raw sugar, which is the brown one.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as much as you can to avoid any sugar, especially for your condition. Sugar is something that you avoid in your diet. You know what I mean? So as long as you drink your coffee black, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so far, everything else, uh, they use
Yeah.
it really for. I remember when my daughter was born, she was preemie, but when they did, is they use a lot of caffeine to get her heart to be pumping. You
Where
understand?
is that?
Uh, Here in the U.S.
Oh,
So
okay. Yes. Yes.
when she was an infant, they gave her. She had a hole in her heart, Okay, and at the same time, the oxygenated blood versus the and also non-oxygenated used to mix, and at the same time, it tires up the heart. So in order to get that heart stronger and being able to close that hole between the two ventricle, right? And
Yeah.
they give a lot of caffeine,
Yo,
and it's
Yeah.
a lot of
sorry,
caffeine,
sorry.
and
Mhm.
um, and that really uh, uh, give the heart a strength also to be able to pump. Uh, uh, the caffeine part, and as well when you talk about coffee, some of it they say, hey, if you drink coffee, if you have coffee in your diet, you'll avoid colon cancer. There's some study that tells you that. There's another study that tells you, oh my God, this thing is going to be devastating for your body because if you got this condition. Everybody wrote so much things about coffee. It's like,
Mhm.
somewhere down the line, uh, it has to be with the person health.
Mhm. Mhm.
It should be something related to that person and
Mhm.
his illness. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
definitely, coffee will make your heart race. That's for sure.
Mhm.
That is for sure. As I can see, when the Magan, welcome. How you doing? I see him on the comment section. But again, going back to the Ethiopian tabel, if you go to Ethiopia, and I'll search more on the people that you can talk to. There's so many things that's been happening right now in that part, uh, and take advantage if it is something that is well for us, that's going to help us, and I want to make sure that um, that in faith is not a doctrine, but it's in faith.
Mhm.
Everything
Mhm.
is in Jesus' name. So that's the number one key thing that we take. In fact, there's a reverend that I met a week ago, and we were talking, and everything that we talked about was around the healing, the processes, and all that. And he said one thing that when it comes to the Lord and looking at you, oh, if you're not from this denomination, you'll be blamed. This domination, no, it's you understanding who you're dealing with. You're dealing with Jesus. I don't care which religion that comes. If you're dealing with Jesus, it doesn't matter. It's you and Him because it's your
Definitely.
Creator.
I agree.
So that's part that He told me. He said, "Yeah, you can follow up or anything, but at the same time, follow the Word. Follow the Word. If you don't follow the Word, that's when we make mistakes.
Mhm.
What the Word says, and that Word is within us." And you saw me cut that. He said, "Hey, Africa and everybody is written in the palm of God, of Xavier, in His palm."
Yeah. Yeah.
So the belief is not denomination, but Him,
Mhm.
the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. You're done. That's all you need to know in your mission on earth. Everything else, the worship. You go in different denominations, still the worship when it comes to the Prado uh, Christians and all that. It came with that. That's why you like it. That's why it sounds good. It makes you
Mhm.
feel good because
Yes.
it really is truly uh, the mission is to please Him, to glorify Him, and with
Yeah.
these music, with this drum, with the voice, with the language itself, it pleases the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We glorify them. So when you come to that effect and you want to go and you decide to go, and there are certain places that are really known also, and I know
Mhm.
priests that are really can help you in your trouble if you're really into it, and I'll
Mhm.
send you some few things that you take a look at it and make you understand because um, in fact I saw something that the last time there's a call worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they are in Ethiopia.
Yes.
And this guy, actually, one of the guys is from, and I think he said Jamaica, somewhere, but it's not in a little island somewhere near Jamaica. But he got a call. He just packed and left, and he didn't know where and how he's gonna get there, but he was guided to be there. And there are a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of them. I'm talking about worldwide. There's a Chinese guy. There's a Jamaican guy. There's another guy from Norwegian or something like that. They don't understand any of the language. They never spoke the language. They never heard of it, but they just got the
Mm-hmm.
call, and they are in this church. They
Mm-hmm.
call them the Guardians, and they have no idea. There's a documentation that's been out about them, and it shows you definitely there's a lot of spiritual movement in Ethiopia, very very on a high level. So definitely, I believe in the Holy Cross and the Holy Blessed Water, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely there are so many of them, and so many churches that, in fact. Uh, you think of church elaborated, with marble or all these columns and everything. No, they're like cave. They're built inside a cave. Uh, there's a lot of documentation actually online on
I think,
magnificent caves.
uh-huh.
And
I
there's a
think what
place where the rain you can see the
mm-hmm.
church is on the open, and there's
Mm-hmm.
no rain. When it rains, there's no rain that goes in there. It's one of those miraculous places. Yes, definitely in Ethiopia, there's so many blessed area, and you'll see all kind of old priests, praying every day for the world. They're selfless, and you will see that kind of when you are in that kind of energy, in your trust, your belief, your faith. Definitely, you will see a miracle. You will see a lot of things that changes not only your element, but at the same time, it boosts your spirituality.
Mm-hmm. I think what I was thinking of really was a place where I could stay, a simple place, and every day read Psalms in gears and then and contemplate on it and see
Hmm.
what it really means, and then go home and sleep and do the same thing the next day. That's what I was really thinking of.
Beautiful,
But
beautiful.
I'm not too sure which state in Ethiopia. Is it Lalibela or where I'm supposed to go?
Um,
I have no
well, you
idea.
have it, and actually, you have them all over the Ethiopia. Most of in Addis, not too far from Addis, there are churches, very
Mm-hmm.
miraculous churches. But you will have Lalibela, you have the south, and you have some Aksum areas. You also have some in the Devra Brahan, which is
Mm-hmm.
southern. So, yes, in that central area, that's where you
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of the churches, including around the Bahar Dar, and right south of Bahar Dar, you find some of them. These are caves, and then you'll
Mm-hmm.
find some of them also in the Tigray region. Uh,
Right.
very, very ancient churches.
Yes.
Uh, uh, on the lake, there's an island. On that island, uh, in that Lake Tana, right in the Lake Tana, you have also churches, and it shows you, in fact, the source of the
Mm-hmm.
Nile. You'll be so
Mm-hmm.
amazed. It's a
Mm-hmm.
trickling source, the stream like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that water right there is blessed. Right there at the beginning of it, you'll have people just getting this holy water poured on them, and some of them will take it in a container. Coming out
Mm-hmm.
from the stream, you'll see all these priests that praise and help people for healing. And the Nile itself is just is amazing. At the source, at the beginning, where the first stream comes, is considered the holy water. At the
Right.
stream,
That's Lake Tana.
Lake Tana, that's when that all these things that came in together, all the affluent and all that came in, and it created this big
Uh-huh.
lake. But the
Right.
the initial that started is the Nile. When it started, is just a little stream. It's so amazing. It's a stream. It's not a river.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then he ended up at being a river. Then we come into the lake, and then from there it start flowing, south, and
Mm-hmm.
go uphill. I mean, go north, not uphill, but go north is just the way the the formation of the earth itself.
Yes.
It's kind of it's like a stairs.
Yeah.
You come from the top of the stairs,
Uh-huh.
and as you go down, then you got another stairs
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
turns now, which is the one heading to north,
You know,
because you're going to the opposite direction.
right. Wow.
So definitely, I'll send you
Okay.
some clips.
Because the thing
And,
is, you know what really intimidates me? The alphabet. Like, I know the entire Hebrew alphabet and I can do it by heart, but every time I look at Amharic, it's the most intimidating thing I've ever seen.
no,
and
and in fact,
it's a Semitic
if
language, but it seems intimidating to me.
because what you see is how wide it is. You see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It is how wide the alphabet is. But if you
Mm-hmm.
look at it from a vertical, there's
Mm-hmm.
only one letter that makes the rest of them.
Okay.
If you just look at it from column, you know, the first
Yes.
ha, le, ha, be, she, it go all the way down, right? And then
Uh-huh.
ha, when it goes wider, is phonetic. When you
Mm-hmm.
got ha, and then the next one is who, the next one is he, the next one is
Mm-hmm.
hey, the next one is her, the next one is ho. So you stayed within the same phonetics, just like do re mi fa sol la si do.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? But it started with do,
Yeah.
and for us, do would be in the de. It's a letter that is in that same vertical. The first letter is de, do,
Mm-hmm.
di, da, de, do.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and
Yes. Yeah.
it's because you look at it. Oh my lord, I'm gonna learn all these. You
Yeah.
see what I mean? But what you should focus more is on the
Uh-huh.
first column.
The first column.
If you the first column, if you look at it, but I don't know. Fam, I think I just won on the Amarinya alphabet. Let me see if I find something. And
What? Let me. I
uh,
put something there. I don't know if this is the best thing, but
mhm.
um, yeah.
See if I can find something.
Do you find this is a good chart? The link that I placed, is that a good chart or?
Oh, you put the link?
Yeah, both
Okay.
in the private and the public.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Very nice, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Do you
what do
you
you
read from right to left, or is it?
from left to right,
Okay, okay.
just like English,
Mm-hmm.
right to left, left to right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So let me share this. So, fam, maybe you're just gonna have a little quick crash course of Ethiopian language. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna share this, and learn the alphabet. Don't be
Yes.
shy, because yeah, it can look intimidating because of the fact that is
Mm-hmm.
high keyboard. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, do you guys see it?
Yeah.
So the letter you should be more worried. You see highlighted in yellow. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It says ha, le, ha, me, se, re, se, she. You notice that se and she, they're really next to each other. They're not that far.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The se and the she, and then you have
Mm-hmm.
the ka, kwa. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you read it from here, is ha, and it
Mm-hmm.
goes who, he,
Mm-hmm.
ha, he,
Mm-hmm.
he, ho. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the H never change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just the phonetic. So usually, if you notice, they have a little the who's, the lose. You see the little sign that they put right on the right side,
Yes.
the mu. If you got that little sign versus
Mm-hmm.
ma, if you compare them, they look the same. If you notice that, except the re, they cannot put it
Mm-hmm.
on the side, so they have to put it at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It
That's
really
it.
is similar to Hebrew. Now that you're describing it, it's the same. It really is a Semitic language. You could tell. Yeah.
It is Semitic. It is
Yeah.
Semitic. And so when you see it like that, this is not ABCD, 26
Yeah.
letters
Yeah.
and then you're done. But again, if you know the rhythm, okay, I can pick you from the mu, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say from mu, and I'll say, okay, find me the sa, which is su, right? You go right here.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? The letter is the main letter is there. The next thing got those little dots, and the same one, this one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? If I
Yeah.
say look for he, and let's find key, right? And then this is he, and this is
Mm-hmm.
also he. You see the way it has it, and then
Mm-hmm.
down, you
Mm-hmm.
see all of them. They have the
Yes.
same little. And here's the key.
Yeah.
Went on the key, and here's the key.
Mm-hmm.
So you can identify, once you understand those little dots that are on the side, or the little circles. If you
Mm-hmm.
notice the hay, it has a little circle at the bottom, like a little
Mm-hmm.
rings, right? Hay got the
Mm-hmm.
ring, May got a ring, Say got a ring, Ray has the ring. You see, they
Mm-hmm.
all have the ring. You see,
Mm-hmm.
to make these letters.
Right.
So hopefully, I gave you a little clue that's
Thanks
easy
so
to know.
much, Peggy. I really appreciate
And
it.
I
Thank
and I
you.
hope the
Yeah.
family and those of you that speak Amarinya but don't know how to read the letters. I hope I
Yeah.
give you guys even
The the
Marie.
mock,
Even Marie is like on hi yo. She already
yeah,
put in here.
the mock indicates the vowel sound, which is exactly that's the way Hebrew works as well. Yeah.
Really, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, but I've seen the letter. They look
Mm-hmm.
very similar
Mm-hmm.
to the Amarinya letters.
Mm-hmm.
They're very similar,
Yeah.
and I can see somebody learned. Marit learned, and she said it's helpful. Yeah, because I just showed you the easy way to read it without getting really overwhelmed. If you
Oh,
really look at it from
mm-hmm,
what you see, with that little sign change from little dot, little circle like a ring light, you know what that
mm-hmm,
he, le, me, say, all these things. You start learning them real quick because
yeah,
you know what that
mm-hmm,
what that circle phonetic is on each letters,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that's how you do it.
Right. Wow.
For us, when I learned Amariña, I went to this. They call it customer suite. Uh, it's a it's like a priest uh, class, a school,
Mm-hmm.
and and this is the easy part you can get away with. Then
Yes.
you got another one through the Bible part, which is
Mm-hmm.
you got to read Dawit. Now you know how to use these letters, and now you read Dawit, and that's David, the book of David, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to read that and recite it. Not only recite it, read it, but recite it and retain it. That's
Mm-hmm.
when the
Mm-hmm.
hard part starts.
Right.
I always said, if you graduate reading Mazmur Dawit, if you did the Dawit, you're done. I think you can write the books.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
it gives you so much information in the content itself, and the priest will explain what it means. Sometimes, when you ask too much question, they don't like it.
Right.
Because his job is to make sure you recite it well. When he asks too many questions, he said, "Oh, you want to get away from reciting," so they strict on you. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I
Yeah.
want to understand what it means. I mean, because it really went through the understanding all these words together, combination. Uh, it's like you graduate from this letter side, and then this is your next level. And I'm like, that's not, you know, uh, to give you an example. When kids start reading the alphabet, they know the alphabet. Now they show them, C for cat. You got all this time that you take into make sure the child kind of develop a relation with the alphabet. The thing that you
Mm-hmm.
see when it comes to learning Amarinya, there's no joke. There's no cartoon character. There's no cat. There's no dog. There's no nothing. He go right into the religious part of life. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like
Yeah.
uh, it's the language tied in right into the religion,
Right.
and that's when you really need to read as it was written,
Yeah.
and your voice and your tone. It's like when they have a comma, when they have a period, where you stop, where you read, where you pick up, the tone itself. The priest would stop you, would ask you, "Hey, you know, I'm not here to listen to your alphabet put together. I want you to put some tone." It's like
Mm-hmm.
for you, it's like you want to read as fast as possible and get out. You know what I mean? No, he wants
Mm-hmm.
you to have the tone of it. So great teaching, because I might take it for granted at the time, but when I really looked at it, it's like tough love. You know, you got to learn
Yes.
it this way. It's like all our ancestors learned it this way. Who are you to change it? You know what I mean? And when you read what you read, it makes sense, because eventually after the alphabet, what you want to do? You want to read a book, right? You want to be able
Yes.
to read books or anything that you see. No, they teach
Mm-hmm.
you to read within the Holy Bible,
Mm-hmm.
right
Mm-hmm.
there. It's all connected.
It's all connected. One of these days, I'll probably bring some program and some people that knows about our letters, the
Uh-huh.
significance of the letters, what they sound like,
Yes.
because I wish Dr. Radas does a lot of translation in
Mm-hmm.
the English, but I understand. Just like
Mm-hmm.
Rich said, we don't want to give out all our secrets. You know what I mean?
I agree.
For
I
those that are
agree.
interested, they're Africans. They are really truly want to understand what it
Mm-hmm.
means and where the he talks about uh, uh, various religion aspect. Andromeda is one of the book. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when it says the goddess in Ethiopia. That's she didn't come in from
Mm-hmm.
anything that when he puts
Mm-hmm.
it together and he's so in depth of it. And my father taught me some of his teaching when I was alive. That each alphabet has a number. Each alphabet has certain thing related in the spiritual realm and what it
Mm-hmm.
means. And this is not just a language that just came in. I mean,
Yes.
look at how sophisticated that is.
Yes.
How sophisticated that is, even in the letter, calling it semantic languages. But
Yes.
to be able to have more than 2,000 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and even when you look at the alphabet, the English alphabet, the European alphabet, they have their history is very limited. This goes 2,500,
Yes. Yeah.
and even if we don't know the exact date of it, but since Jesus came and visited us, it's been what 2022 years, whatever the number that we've been given. So this language was before that. It was written, and imagine how it's well elaborated in the way they put those letterings together. So Africa has a lot of history to uncover and to understand through the Ethiopian history. It has a lot of information that's that's there, and it will cover from one end of Africa to the other, and they have information, and that is always kept because now the GIZ is a PhD class in Princeton because all the secret is within GIZ written documents.
Yes. Yeah.
We're talking about medicine, the spiritual realms. We're talking about human beings, about who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is written. It's in there, and they want to decipher more. There are a lot of documents that's been stolen from Ethiopia. Every time they get the opportunity, they visit our oldest church and they find those scrolls, and those scrolls has a lot of information. Even that some of the big pharma is said they used some of these ingredients that's already out there,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a lot of information out there. So now to make it PhD, imagine now, to that level, that means somebody is looking into it now, wide in the wide open space. How much they get out of it, of course, is a PhD level. So somebody's going to be able to read some of the documents that are written on those scrolls, and some of those scrolls are really hidden in Ethiopia because they don't want it to land in different hands. I've found so many scrolls that came in here, and especially in the Los Angeles area. And this guy came in and they were selling for about 500 to $3,500 on display like a souvenir. And I told the guy, I said, listen, what you're doing is you're selling part of Ethiopia. These scrolls never meant to leave the country. They were not a gift to somebody. These are specific scrolls. And I read a few of them and I showed him. The next thing he did, he took them off shelf. He understood what he was selling. He was selling part of Ethiopia
That's
that
good.
should
Yeah.
never been on display. I said, you can make anything, you can make money on anything, but this you can't. He said he was gonna ask the guy where he got the collection, and ever since I never followed through because really these are kept in churches and stuff like that. They're not just an individual collections. These are the church's selections. They're all handwritten on, and these scrolls they're written on the leather, the fine leather, and that technology is almost
Uh-huh.
dying. Except there's this guy that's teaching youngs how to
Mm-hmm.
write, in scrolls, which
Mm-hmm.
amazed me. He has a lot of students that comes and learn
Mm-hmm.
not only how to just write on it, but
Yes.
how to create. They call it brand. They call it brand. It's a thin layer of leather. How you can get that
Uh-huh.
out of the skin. It shows
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
from the time it's been skinned, but the time that it dries, the way they treat it, and they cut it into get those little little piece to write on it. Amazing. It's even that is on YouTube, and this guy want to keep the tradition and the secrecy of writing these documents. And so, from my understanding, some of them is like when the scroll is getting too old,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and they make sure they write it again. Some of them
Right.
they treat it and they make uh, they fix it, but some of the fix, he said, we'll give them another 50 years or so. You might not be able to read it. So he's reviving it. He makes sure that they are copied right. And it's amazing that somebody out there that's keeping the tradition and teaching young students. And these are the uh, archaeological facts that are in Ethiopia's hand. And that's why I'm very, very happy that Ethiopia never been colonized for that robbery. Even the occupation did a lot of damage
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
they were stealing and robbing the churches, and that really can imagine it'd be longer. They'll be digging more into different caves, different churches. They came in looking for the ark. One thing that they found out is there are 20,000 replica, and they all come out. They all come out on the celebration of the ark, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
celebration day. So all these churches comes with that replica. So you don't know
Yeah.
which one is what,
Right. Right.
and that's what I call it, the natural camouflage,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
because everybody celebrates it. Remember during uh, Queen Sheba and Solomon,
Yes.
when he got the acquired of the way the ark went to Ethiopia, is to
Mm-hmm.
worship the God of Solomon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And since it's there, that's when everything else started going, at the rate it was going, and creating those replicas. That's another
Yeah.
history. That's another history. Uh, I need to get with the some of the factual things that I mean the facts that are what you call supported by real things, that are out there.
Yes.
And these informations, for the longest, they try to get hold of those things, but it's still protected in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you're going to be taken out from Ethiopia, especially if you are suspected of getting some of these scrolls and everything else, I think there's a prison time. You know, you can't take these kind of documents out. They tried,
Right.
and a lot of them got busted.
Yeah.
A lot of them got
Yeah.
busted. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
there's a guy, a priest, that was showing those documents because they are church documents, and the
Mm-hmm.
translator is Ethiopian, and the other
Mm-hmm.
guy is white, and he wants to know everything about those books. And
Mm-hmm.
and when he discussed about the books, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the the priest speaks English. Okay, he speaks English, but he wants to keep it as minimum of information. So he was
Mm-hmm.
telling this guy, the Ethiopian guy, listen, and he was telling him from Ethiopian to Ethiopian, right? Not
Yeah.
Ethiopian to translate to
Mm-hmm.
another dude. And he explained him what this book is about, right? And it is a kept secret for us to maintain the integrity and the history of these books. So I'm just telling you this. So the guy started translating what the priest was telling him, personal notes. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Man," he looked at him, "Man, I didn't tell you to tell him what I told you. This was for your information, and uh, and it's on the YouTube. And when you hear that, it's like
Yeah.
there's no shame to the game. This is about Ethiopia. This is not something that I want you to translate it. I'm like, listen, I'm listening, but some people that did not listen, this kind of information comes out, they're gonna come
Mm-hmm.
hunting for it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason to get hold of those books. So that's how much they are protected. It's like I'm telling you for your information, but this is information that kept here, not to be
Yes.
outside. Eh,
I
because
agree.
the priest, that's when you understand the priest knows how to speak English, but he wants
Mm-hmm.
to maintain minimum information.
Mm-hmm.
Probably told him get another translator, so we're gonna work it out. It's amazing. It was an amazing interview, and I handed it to him. He handled it quite well,
Yeah.
but the translator was blown up. He's like, "Oh shoot, I should not be saying this." You can see him on his expression. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how much they kept it in secret. And
Yeah.
if you go there, you happen to go there, you'll see so many amazing things that sometimes it blows my mind. Even
Mm-hmm.
me, as being Ethiopian, going out there and what it was and how it's kept and the spirit
Yeah.
that you receive in there, she just
Yes.
it's just out of this world. It's just there's no word to it.
Yes.
There's no word to it. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like seeing all these priests have the same mission to
Yeah.
glorify Xavier and to keep
Mm-hmm.
on blessing us and to maintain our planet.
Mm-hmm.
They speak and they pray for us,
I
not for
believe,
themselves.
yes, I believe this is where Africa's liberation begins.
Mhm.
The
This is where it is.
yes.
And that's why I said, when it comes, when I brought the subject of branding, is us as Africans. We have everything in our hand. We have everything. There's nothing that Africa doesn't have. that the rest of the world think they have. We have the resources, we have the manuscripts, we have documentation beyond anybody's belief that our forefathers went through and how they did it. Very advanced technology that's buried. There's so many information that we have inherited from our forefathers. There are so many things that's hidden from public, but can be shared among the nation of Africa. And we have to show as Africans to fulfill the utmost equality, not just trade, but spiritually also, that we are very advanced. And that being advanced will help us to go to the next dimension. If we connect all the dots, all in unity, literally Africa will be different in the blink of an eye. It will be so magical, per se, like they say, that
Yes.
our unity is not just a unity of physicals and borderless or anything else. It's our spiritual unity, and we walk together.
You
That's
know
what we
what?
call our own branding.
hmm I think the church has to play a very pivotal role in reversing the damage that is done to a land that has had a lot of blood spilt on it. That's what I think. And so my mention of the church isn't really to take us away from the original topic of economic development. I think in order to move forward, there's some role the church has to play in reversing the trauma that comes to the people living on a piece of land on which blood has been shed.
It's a scar, it's a
Yes.
wound. We can only fix it when we stand together, because those blood that's been spilled are the one that's going to hunt us. And we show unity, we start healing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the, there's so much atrocity that's been done, especially in those part of uh, spiritual lands, and so many bloods that's been spilled for really a robbery, a Christian coming and killing another Christian in the name that I'm a better Christian than you Christian. There's a whole history on how we got evaded, and have a different religion that's going to be to war with another religion. All that stirring up just to steal, just to take something that doesn't belong to them. And those are the time now where Africa is now really, the awareness and the all these sacrifice that our forefather did is coming forward. Now we have a better stand when we are together and we communicate. Our communication should be clear, loud and clear, for our unity. And what we need is not just the physical realm, but we need the spiritual realm, because we are spiritual beings. In that we align. In that we can be powerful. In that part, there's nobody that can defeat us. Just the way we glorify Him, the mind, body, soul, strength. That is what we need to deliver together. And
Definitely.
individually, it should be practiced. It should be practiced to that level. That's what I keep saying: sleep, eat, drink, Africa. If you put that in your mind, you always will have a strength that comes within, and what the merit is to that one nation, one Africa. What is the debts that others that robbed Africa, they cannot repay in a lifetime of this earth. They can't, because so much damage has been done. But again, we Africans should start forgiving, but we don't forget, and start listing, who am I dealing with? This is for us. When you say us, you become part of the forefathers eventually when they speak. Oh, you did this. Mary did this. Mika did this. All of us will become part of them. But we have to make a shift and move for the future of African children. We're supposed to be the one that has the opportunity now to speak about it and to put it together. And that's how we're going to be going forward. And eventually, we'll be part of the forefathers. But are we doing what our forefathers sacrificed? Are we doing the right moves? Are we doing the right things? Do you have the right thinking about Africa? Or is
Mm-hmm.
still you have the same narrative that we are poor, that we have nothing, we have this and that, but yet we have the riches. We have the riches in human resource and the natural resource that's been blessed to us. It's up to every African to wake up and say, listen, we're the richest continent, the richest people in spirit, in being, the kindest, the most peaceful seeking human that you have from the rest of the world. Africa is peaceful, but she's
Mm-hmm.
always been disturbed. But we are peaceful. We're blessed. They didn't even touch anything yet with all this thing by trying to get to the resources, ignoring the human lives. With all these people that's been killed for nothing. But again, for us, is we bury our deads,
Mm-hmm.
we give it up, we look up, but we don't want to bury anymore. That's why we're going to need stop everything by uniting collectively, networking. Again, it's all about spirit.
Yes.
Let's see. On a comment, I got Marie. She said there was some donation again. One thing I didn't bring up uh, is our funding for our offices, um, and I'm gonna make sure that everybody understand we're still looking for funds, and these funds are for One Africa, Charlie Nation One Africa, and the fundraising is for us to shine, having an office. And I want to share this. Give me a minute and see what we had. Let me see. Here we go. All right. Our GoFundMe is not moving as fast as I wanted it, but again, I want to thank Murga Kamale
Crystal Mover, uh, Amarich Tadema. I really appreciate for those that are really the last that gave. You can see it on my screen, right? Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. I'm just gonna make sure that I have the full. And I'm gonna. Okay, let me see. Yep, that's right there. All right, I'm just gonna play Reimaging Africa campaign from SNN One Africa.
So the lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell us you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google who discovered Africa, you find out that is one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came and then he went back, he gave a report. And then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they start somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake because they discovered it, they own it. That is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I love this the reimaging, and I mean I just want to keep playing it because just a reminder: eat, sleep, drink, Africa. Keep Africa in mind. Where
Mm-hmm.
our history started, where we're at, and how we can advance it. So today, any question, Marianne? Something that we need to work on, something that you can give us an assignment, or something that really help us promote and branding Africa in all
I just
directions.
want I just wanted to remind everyone what of the point you mentioned about our people. We can't underestimate the importance of having a population of sound mind. That is something that the USA has not been able to achieve. Anyone who has lived in the US for a period of time would know that the it's a one of their biggest challenges. There are many people who, for various reasons, be it being overworked in order to pay bills, or it is also the result of the foreign policy and the consequences of collective sins as well. Their population does not enjoy soundness of mind for these reasons. And that is something that is linked to our spirituality as well. We have to make sure we make that a priority in Africa, that each person is seen as unique, special, a spiritual being, and not simply a human resource to be exploited. So we have to be an egalitarian society in the sense that every single person is valued. So that's what I would like to leave everyone with.
Oh, thank you, Emily. It's really, really important that that I cannot emphasize more than just make everybody understand that all of us are very unique creation. We all have a mission. We all have assignment, and we cannot do it all by ourselves, because when He created us is to for us to live together in peaceful, harmonious life, and that message goes to everybody. Each of you are unique and special person. No matter what you go through, keep in mind good things are coming your way when you meant with all your heart, because
Mhm.
good things are always there. Just the way we call for peace, call for the good things. But this is our common language. And those good things, when they arrive, we all share it together. We all enjoy one another, because
Yeah.
the goodness comes from the Creator. Call for it, ask for it. This is a big shopping center that He gave us, from the skies to the seas to the lands, for every opportunity that He gave us. Is how we want to use it, and how we can help one another to explore it, and to always admire His creation, what kind of garden He created for us. With that in mind, always keep the spirit high, always glorify Him, always thank yourself for your achievement at the end of the day, because a lot of us forget to thank ourselves for the day that we did. So always keep that in mind. If you don't appreciate yourself, there's no way you're going to appreciate the Lord. Very hard, because He's within you, He created you. And tag on and make the best of it in life. And don't listen to that nonsense. Life is short. Life is given to you. It's up to you to use it and how to live with it. And I all bless you all with Xavier in mind. And I really thank all of you that came in and be part of the session, and always the branding and promoting Africa is our number one priority. May Xavier bless you. And I want to thank Xavier for giving us this day, for giving us this moment to express ourselves, to comment, to be concerned about our dearest Africa that He created. And may Xavier bless you all. All the blessing to you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Oh
All
man.
right, Marie, I really thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. And Jonathan just came in at the
Oh
last
yeah.
minute.
Hello.
Jonathan, Jonathan
Hello.
comes at the last minute. Yeah, Jonathan, are you in DC? I just want to know. And oh, he was at the football. In fact, I think Jonathan is going to be somewhere here sometime next week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay, but Jonathan, we just let you replay it, catch up later.
Wow.
Yeah, he said he's going to be here next weekend, so I'm going to meet
Okay.
with Jonathan next week.
Wonderful.
Definitely, I'll meet you. Oh, definitely, me and Yonata, I'm gonna meet.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
In that, Marie Antoinette, it is a wrap, right?
Yes.
It is a wrap.
Hmm.
We wrap it
Thanks so
off.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And
Okay.
everybody
Bye.
else, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. For those that is going to be sleeping, my dear Africa, good night.